All right, everyone, here we are with another video with Invest for Tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the S&P 500 index and how these pump dates have affected it. So you can see it there. I've circled the dates. I also have the dates to show it, and we're going to look at it. We're going to analyze it, and we're going to see what's going on. So one of the first things I want to state to all the first-time viewers and investors is the fact that this is not guaranteed profits. I'm not here to tell you guys what to buy, sell, or hold. I use everything as an example, and there's 500 ticker symbols to research and do your due diligence on to make your own rational decisions, number one. And another thing too, if you find value in this, I want you to share this with a friend. And don't forget to hit that like button. By hitting that like button, you support the channel. It helps the channel. And if you don't want to take the time to share it, by hitting the like button, YouTube will take care of the sharing. They will go ahead and recommend this to other people's videos. And I'm just going to be straightforward with you guys. I want more investors to be aware of this because this is something big. I've been tracking it since June and July and even earlier, but here on my channel. A lot of people don't know I do this analysis. Some people overlook it. I try to do it with a notification because sometimes I max out my notifications, and it's pretty important to be aware of this because I like using the S&P 500 index as a way to track the overall market. Some people like the Dow, some people like the Dow and the S&P 500 index, and others only like the Nasdaq or they like all three. I like the S&P 500 index, blue chip stocks, well-known companies, and companies that are trying to always be protected by the government. Like literally, the country tries to protect the image of these companies because they've been around for so long, and also they like their business model or something about them or their innovation to make them a Fortune 500 company. There's something about them that just has a big impact on the economy overall. But just the S&P 500 index, don't just use it as one source, but it's one of my favorite sources. It's not the only one. You got to look at all of them. The Nasdaq, the Dow, everybody's doing something or an impact indirectly or directly to the overall market, but I like the S&P 500 index. So let's go ahead and see here. So when's the next pump? That's the first question. The next pump is on the 29th. Our most recent was the 22nd, and Tuesday, the 15th, was the one before that. So let's see what happened on the 15th. So the 14th, the stock fell, right? The S&P 500 index, and it hit lows here of about 36.45. And the 15th, it ran up to about this point at 36.95. That's almost a 60-point jump right there, right? And then, or a 60-point jump, 50-point jump around that area. And then here we are with the most recent pump. So on the 21st, there was a lot of volatility. It fell down. It hit lows here of about 36.36. It started to run during the 21st, and it led into the 22nd, right, with a slight dip, and it fell down to this point at 36.75, and the highest point on the 22nd was 36.97. So if you just played it by the 22nd, you reached the point where it did a rise of about 20 points, 20 to almost 30 points. But if you paid attention to the lows here on the 24th or as it was running up, then you could have received anywhere from 50 to 90 point jump in total. So that right there goes ahead and shows how these pumps level off the market. They stop the market from going downwards to newer lows and brings it right back up. You can see it here in the previous one. You can see it here in this one. So let's see here what this next pump, right, the 29th could be like. Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. We're still waiting for stimulus to be passed, unless it already has been. I haven't seen any updates on it, and it's very important to be aware of this. If nothing gets passed and we start the week, this is where we're going. I could see Monday having that effect because keep in mind, the 29th is Tuesday, Monday's the 28th. So we still have an uncertainty date, which is the 28th. Could do something like that. On Tuesday, since the pump happens, it'll bring everything back to leveling off. Okay, that right there is what the pumps are meant to do. And if they don't level off, what they do is actually bring the market up over time, which is a good sign too. Now, something I've noticed that if we go in a downtrend, the pumps still actually have an impact, right? Positively bringing up the overall S&P 500 index and ticker symbols with it. Now, another thing too, you want to keep in mind that individual ticker symbols that are doing well also have an impact overall on what's going on here. So I believe that Monday, if we don't have any stimulus and we have a lot of uncertainty and fear kicking in, we're going to have a slight drop. Tuesday's the date of the pump and it'll bring it up. Now, if something of hope, just a drop of hope, even if nothing's passed, gives animation and excitement and attracts investors into the market, we can go somewhere like that on Monday, and the date of the pump will hit a newer high, or just slightly dip on the next day and then bring itself back up and kind of level off, like we saw here where you got like a 20 to 30 point jump on the date of the pump. So we want to watch carefully what's going to happen Monday to know how this is going to probably react Tuesday. Now we're currently at 37.03, and the highest point that we recently saw was up here at 37.25. Now pump dates are going to continue till the 14th of January, so we have a few more pumps to watch and see what's going to happen. But I think that if these pumps continue and the uncertainty kind of brushes off, the S&P 500 can continue on its way up to newer highs. We need to watch it though. We need to see carefully. But right now, that's what it's looking like. The previous pumps are actually showing how well they've done. And we need to see what's going to move forward. So I'm not here to guarantee any profits. I'm not here to tell you guys what to buy, sell, or hold. Do your due diligence. Do your research. Look up the top, 10 companies of the S&P 500 index, or do your research on stocks that, they're small cap in the S&P 500 index or mid cap that you might want to take a stake at and watch their history on how they've been acting on these dates, right? It's very important. So keep in mind those numbers, keep in mind those dates. You can kind of use the 15th and the 21st leading into the 22nd to see how it reacted. The most recent one here was on the 8th, right? You could see that from the 7th to the 8th. And then also we had the 30th to the 1st. So you can kind of use those dates there in the last month or the last 4 weeks to see how this stock that you want to track and probably give a shot at, or just watch, right, and add to your watch list and see what happens. Definitely use those dates to see. But just because previous history has happened, don't base it off of just history. You want to see what's going on with the company right now, because just because of history might align the same with the S&P 500 index doesn't mean that it's going to actually continue to happen. That's something you want as an investor to be aware of. But right now, this is what it's looking like. And I wanted to also share with you guys some information here. So I went ahead and I looked up the, SPDR portfolio, which is the growth ETF, SPYG. And right now, I was looking at where it's at and what's going on and some interesting stuff here. So their top 10 holdings, right? Index top holdings and fund holdings, they all basically resemble the same. These are all some of the best companies of the S&P 500 index overall. And if you do some research on these, pretty interesting stuff. Some of them align like pretty well, and others have nothing to do with what's going on. They do the complete opposite. So you want to watch carefully who is benefiting from these pumps and who is actually rising with the S&P 500 index, because the S&P 500 index doesn't rise alone. It rises because of these individual stocks. So individual stocks are making the moves, and then the S&P 500 index makes the moves with them. So these are right now 10 here that you can take a look at, do some research and see which one's looking opposite or not. I'm not here to tell you to buy, sell, or hold any of these. This is just guidance to kind of give you a place to look, and then you can probably find even more. There might even be better ticker symbols than these, but these right here honestly are individual ticker symbols that are interesting and you probably want to someday have in your portfolio, not just because of these pumps, like even like long term as an investor. Now here's the VU, right? Vanguard. This is their S&P 500 ETF, and if you think about it, it's pretty much 500. V as Roman numeral 5 and then 500. So pretty cool that they did that. So here we are. Let's see here their top 10 largest holdings. So they have Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook, Berkshire Hathaway, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, Chase & Co., Visa, and Procter & Gamble. So these are 10 here in the VU. You want to kind of also look into those. So now you have some other ones there. So in total, you probably have almost now, removing like the top 5 from here, you have now 15 in total. Because there's some here that have nothing to do with the ones here. So look into it, see for yourselves, and right there you got 15 different ticker symbols. There's 500. I want you guys to keep that in mind. 500 ticker symbols to choose from. So I just wanted to go ahead and point these out so that you guys have something to kind of guide yourself through. There's so many more ticker symbols out there. Don't just go ahead and base it off of those. I just wanted you guys to have something to start adding to your watch list and watching overall, not just because of these pump dates, but even overall as an investment someday in your portfolio. You would want to have these, because if these are in these ETFs, it's for a reason, and these are companies that have proven themselves time after time after time so far. Now there are going to be a lot of growth stocks and disruptive stocks, you know, in the near future that can probably change some of these ETFs around, but some of these, you know, they have a niche, or if not, they make sure that they participate in every innovation as much as possible, as quickly as possible, to continue to be the top dogs of the S&P 500 and just the market overall. So I hope you guys found this video helpful and informative. If you're a first-time viewer and you did, subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit that like button to let me know you watched this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.